Hold on, we want to vogliamo fare tutto registrato così.
Mm, perfetto.
Just 1 minute.
Mhm.
Okay.
It says it's you're doing streaming?
Yes, like I said, I'm recording it to my WhatsApp to my YouTube account.
But it's going to be
And
it's a private.
yes.
Okay, perfect.
And then I'll be able, but there it's easier to download than from other places.
Exactly. Okay, that's fine. Whatever works for you. So the first thing I wanted to ask is, I'm confused. Is your name Ariel or is your name Gidon? Because I watched the interview with Pastor Jan.
Jan
Yeah,
Age.
and he called you Gideone, which in Italian would be Gideone. So I was like, I need to ask him what his first name is.
So that's my first name. It's Gidon. And if you
Okay.
want to call me Gideon, that's also okay.
Okay. All right. That's good.
Now,
So maybe,
before we get started, if you will tell me a little bit about yourselves.
oh, okay. All right. So I'll go first and then Nazzarena. So, as I said, I'm American. I'm also Italian now. And I've been living in Italy for 35 years. Um, we're evangelical, so we are very involved in the union between the Christian community and the Jewish community. I live in Rome, so over the past couple of years, have become very involved with the Jewish community in Rome. It just kind of happened over COVID. I started learning biblical Hebrew, took 3 courses, and that just the love I had for the Jewish people in Israel just exploded. And then with October 7th, I wanted to show my closeness to the Jewish people here in Rome. And a friend of mine suggested, he says, well, you can, an evangelical, he says, well, you can go to the synagogue. And I go, I can? And he said, yeah. So for almost a year, I went every Shabbat to the major temple here in Rome just to be there, prayed. I mean, I didn't understand anything because I don't speak Hebrew, but just to show my closeness and to pray with the Jews in Rome. And then I started walking with a group of, most of us were ladies, but anyway, a group that was called Run for Their Lives, and we were trying to keep the awareness up of the fact that there were so many hostages that were still in Gaza in captivity. And so most of them are Jewish, the people that are in the group. There were only, I think I was the only evangelical, a couple of Catholics, and we ended up in the group creating a smaller group of really good friends. And so now we do lots of things together. I'm part of a prayer group that has been meeting on every Monday evening to pray for the hostages and to pray for the families, all of you in Israel, that God will help heal these terrible wounds that all of you have, because we know it's not just the hostages. Every family has been touched in Israel because of this. And I have a podcast called The Eagle in Flight, L'Aquila in Volo, and it's a Christian prophetic podcast. So obviously we talk about Israel quite often. And so anyway, I'm part of one of the associations called the Italian Evangelical Christians for Israel. So anyway, it's just a real quick overview of my connection with you and your people. Nazzarena.
No, wait, I have questions first. One
Ah,
second.
okay.
You're are you a professional journalist?
So I'm not a professional journalist. I do have a degree in communications and television production and journalism, but I'm not doing that. My husband and I have a real estate agency. I think my connection just left. Are you
I
there?
hear you. I see you.
Okay, my husband and I have a real estate agency, and because I am American and with the English language, we have like a niche in the market. So we deal mainly with rentals to people coming in to work for the embassies, the consulates, and the United Nations, all of those terrible offices. But anyway, it's good because I'm connected with the UN, I'm connected with the Food and Agriculture Organization, World Food Program, IFAD. So yeah.
It's a mitzvah to take money from those people.
Yeah, there you go. I thank the Lord for that, but I always ask him if he can help me in some way bring a change to, I mean, they're the people that work there that I deal with are very nice, and they're not like, Guterres or whoever. But
And
anyway.
you met your husband in the United States?
Sorry?
Did you meet your husband in the United States?
No, I met my husband in Italy because I came to learn the language, and
Okay.
there you go. I had given myself 2 years. I said I'm going to go for only 2 years. I had every intention of going back, and here we are, a lifetime
That's the
away.
way it works. And you live in Rome, but Rome, that's where the Pope lives.
Yeah,
So
well, he lives in the Vatican, which is a different state.
right. Close enough. But evangelicals are a very small minority in Rome, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah, in
Okay.
Italy as well. I mean, we're not even 1%.
Wow.
But that's
And-
okay, you know? So we're doing our best.
Okay. Well, lovely to meet you. And this CMS was the Christian Media Summit. Was that the first time that you've been to Israel?
I'm sorry, I missed you. My connection's really bad.
The Christian Media Summit where we met, was that your first time in Israel?
No, it was my fourth. Yeah, it was my fourth time. I was in Israel in July as well. I did a volunteer service with SAR-L, which is part of the IDF, you know them. And so
Yes,
I
yes,
was
yes.
in Be'er Sheva in one of the military bases packing
Wonderful.
boxes for the soldiers in Gaza.
Kol hakavod. Okay, let's hear from Nazzarena for a bit, if we may.
Okay, okay. I said you that I live in Sicily, but I come from Roma. I am the founder and the president of an association, Bnei Ephraim.
Oh,
This association was founded in 2012. Our main purpose is to stand with Israel in every way. For example, we studied about the history of Sicily, because the Jews were in Sicily before 2000 ago, before then the following of Jerusalem.
yes,
Then
yes.
we studied the roots of our religion, because we know very well that Christian came from Jews, and it's necessary to know very well the Talmud, the Torah, and so on. Another our item is a choir, because we have many youngs that created a choir and we sing many Hebrew songs in our. We celebrated the festivals because it's important to sprout the culture, the Hebrew culture.
I understand. That's very, very interesting. And
Yes,
do you have a website?
yes, Ephraim, a page. We are working about a web. Yes, because sometimes I I tell about the history of
Yes.
Israel, the history of our religion. And another items for us is the anti-Semitism.
Of course.
Yes, we goes in the school and institution to celebrate the memory of the Holocaust, but
Yes.
also the culture is important to explain to the people what is Israel now or today, and what was Israel in the past, and what is the role of Israel in our faith.
Very, very important, Nazzarena. Is that your full-time job?
Please.
Is that what you do all the time, or is there something else that you do?
No, yes, we also other people, yes. We are
No,
No.
vorrei sapere se è il tuo lavoro tempo pieno.
Ora sì, now, yes, now, yes, I am retired. And so I was completely dedicated to this job.
Kol hakavod. Thank you very, very, very much.
So thank you.
And Mimmo, shalom to you. I'm Gidon Ariel.
Buongiorno, chiedo scusa per il ritardo.
Buongiorno. How is Mimmo's English?
Mimmo, can you speak some English? Parli un po' di...
My English very, very bad, so
he can speak in
Bonnie help.
Okay.
Ciao, buongiorno Italia.
So Mimmo, Gidon ci sta chiedendo qualche cosa di chi siamo e che cosa facciamo. Ho una connessione pessima stamattina, te lo dico, quindi se qualche volta ti chiedo di ripetere è per questo. I just told him that you were, Gidon, just told him that you were asking us a little bit about ourselves, and I'll translate for him, but that I have a really bad connection. I keep coming in and out. So I might, if I ask him to repeat, that's why. Mimmo, go.
Allora, io sono il direttore di una web TV evangelica.
I'm the director of an evangelical web TV.
Il mondo evangelico in Italia è molto diviso e rappresenta solo l'1% di tutta la popolazione nazionale, quindi noi ci rivolgiamo principalmente a quell'1%.
So he was just mentioning the fact that the evangelical world is quite divided in Italy, and he said we're 1%. I said we were less than 1, but this is good. So we've grown in 3 minutes. So we're 1%.
He's counting both sides of the split.
Yeah.
Ma quando abbiamo trattato temi, perché trattiamo soprattutto temi spirituali, ovviamente, il nostro obiettivo è quello.
And when we have talked about spiritual content, because that's our goal, is spiritual content.
Ma quando abbiamo iniziato 2 anni fa a trattare temi che riguardavano Israele, perché abbiamo visto che nel mondo evangelico cresceva l'antisemitismo, paradossalmente.
And when we saw 2 years ago that the anti-Semitism, unfortunately, paradoxically, was growing within the evangelical community, we started to speak about themes that were dealing with Israel.
Così abbiamo iniziato a trattare in molte trasmissioni, proprio nel programma di cui mi occupo direttamente io, temi spirituali, ma da un punto di vista profetico e che quindi riguardavano Israele.
And so we started talking about the prophetic significance of the things that are going on in Israel.
E abbiamo visto che il pubblico è aumentato esponenzialmente. Abbiamo dei video che hanno raggiunto 1,5 milioni di persone.
At that point, we saw the audience grow in an incredible way, something we never thought. Yeah, it was incredible. And we have videos that have actually been, how do you say it in English? The views have been even 1.5 million views of some of our videos.
La conclusione alla quale personalmente sono arrivato, ma non abbiamo dati statistici precisi in questo senso, è che anche molti cristiani cattolici, quindi non evangelici, sono interessati al tema dell'antisemitismo e a tutto quello che riguarda Israele.
So I don't know if you can hear me because you're
I
all
hear you
frozen
fine.
right now, but hopefully okay. So what we also saw was that not only evangelicals, but a lot of Catholics are very interested in the prophetic significance of what's going on in Israel.
How do you like that?
E per concludere, diciamo che lo scoglio più grande è stato lavorare e convincere chi ci seguiva, gli ascoltatori, che non c'è una differenza tra il governo israeliano, che fa forse a volte agli occhi del pubblico scelte sbagliate o fa cose orribili, non c'è una distinzione tra il governo israeliano e il popolo ebraico, perché sono un tutt'uno.
So the biggest difficulty, let's say, obstacle that we had in all of this was trying to convince our viewers that there's no difference between the government of Israel and the Jewish people. It's one. They're all together. Even if, humanly speaking, some think that certain decisions that have been made are right or wrong, but that we shouldn't be they shouldn't be divided. It's one big area. It's the same.
Cerco di spiegare meglio, poi non so quanto tempo ho, ma finisco
I'll
con
try to
questo,
explain it better, this idea.
perché questo è, secondo me, il punto focale che deve obbligare ogni cristiano a difendere le ragioni di Israele, sempre.
Because this is, to me, the main point that needs to push Christians to always support Israel.
Amen.
Il punto è che non ci saranno degli avvenimenti profetici se Israele sparisce.
Mimmo, I'm
non ci
sorry, I
possono-
lost.
Sì,
Non ti ho sentito. Dillo di
ok.
nuovo.
Sì, sto dicendo che molte persone pensano, cristiani, parlo di cristiani trasversalmente, quindi cattolici, evangelici, quelli che si definiscono cristiani, sono dalla parte della Palestina perché noi dobbiamo amare i più deboli e c'è questa convinzione qui, no?
So
Invece,
there's this conviction, he says, across all types of Christians, whether Catholic, evangelicals, or whatever, that we have to be on the side of the Palestinians because we have to love them because they're poor and they don't have anything. And so this is his first point.
E quindi oltre che a sforzarmi di riportare l'attenzione sui fatti che sono stati attaccati da fake news e notizie sbagliate riguardo a Israele, abbiamo dovuto lavorare anche sull'aspetto profetico, cioè se Israele sparisse, come dicono i cori pro-Palestina, no? Free Palestine dal mare, dal fiume al mare, quindi niente Israele, non ci sarà più il ritorno del Signore. Perché
So this is what I've had to not only try to report the truth of what's going on in Israel, but I've felt the need to bring into the light the fact that if Israel goes into extinction and is no more, then all of biblical prophecy won't happen, and Jesus won't return again. So bringing that into play has been an important role.
E comunque abbiamo insistito molto sul concetto biblico che le promesse che Dio ha fatto ad Israele sono irrevocabili, quindi sono valide ancora oggi. Non c'è la Chiesa che ha sostituito Israele. Questa è un'altra convinzione che ha giocato a sfavore di Israele.
And the fact that he's brought up during the different programs that he's had, the fact that all of the promises in the Bible are irrevocable and will happen and they're eternal, and the church has definitely not replaced Israel or the Jewish people at all. So these are the different, let's say, obstacles, that they've had, to challenges that they've had in trying to adjust the way people, the Christians are thinking wrongly.
Yes.
That's my opinion. Okay.
Quindi per concludere, abbiamo lavorato molto su questo, sulla centralità profetica di Israele e della necessità di schierarsi dalla parte di Israele anche quando questo schieramento è difficile da prendere.
And in conclusion, just the fact that biblically and prophetically, we are called to stand with Israel at all times, even in difficult times like today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Toda rabba. Gracias. Mucho gracias. Is that the right language that I get?
That's Spanish, but we understand.
Yes, yeah.
So how do you say it in Italian? I should at least get it right at that.
Grazie mille.
Grazie mille, grazie mille. And
All right.
and you, Mimmo, how long have you had their television station?
Per quanti anni esiste il canale?
Il canale esiste da 15 anni e io dirigo questo canale da 5.
Dillo di nuovo, scusa.
Il canale esiste da 15 anni, io lo dirigo da 5.
So it has been around for 15 years, and he has been the director for 5 years.
Okay, much success. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have a nice introduction of everybody else. What are we up to now?
We
Bonnie?
need you. We want to know more about you and what you're doing there. And then maybe we can figure out how we can create some collaboration amongst us.
Now, the three of you are part of a single group?
No.
Okay. So,
We were part of the group, the delegation that came down. So Mimmo is in Puglia, Nazzarena is in Sicily, I am in Rome, and we represent different groups.
Wonderful. Okay, very nice. I was born in Mimmo. If you don't understand something, then go like this, and Bonnie will translate.
Mimmo,
Okay?
se non capisci.
I understand. So I understand.
Okay.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So I was born in New York, where there are a lot of Jews and a lot of Italians. But I grew up in an Orthodox Jewish observant community, but my family wasn't so observant. But in about 7th grade, I discovered a Jewish youth movement, an Orthodox Jewish Zionist youth movement, and they taught me the love of the God of Israel, the love of the Torah of Israel, the love of the people of Israel, the love of the land of Israel, and the love of the state of Israel. This was back in the 70s. So I was very, very excited about that. I spent a lot of time at that youth movement. And in 9th grade, I was not in such a good school. My parents asked me if I would like to go to Israel for the remainder of high school. And so I jumped at the chance. And when I came here, I studied in a yeshiva high school. Yeshiva is an advanced Jewish studies seminary. And after I finished high school, I went to the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. But instead of doing 3 years of active duty, I did 5 years. But instead of doing 3 years of active duty, I only did 1.5 years of the military, and another 3.5 years I was in another yeshiva. And that was great. We would study Torah from like 7 o'clock in the morning till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. It was a wonderful, wonderful time. And really today, because of the state of Israel, Jews studying Torah, there's never been anything like it in the history of the Jewish people. More Torah is being learned now than all the other times for thousands of years all put together. It's really amazing. One day I was on a break from my studies and I was walking through Jerusalem and I saw a sign on an apartment. So I crossed the street to read the sign. You know, that's my hobby. You can get a degree in Jewish history just by reading the street signs in Jerusalem. But this was not a street sign. It was the sign of the offices of the ICEJ, the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem. And I was surprised because Jerusalem, that means Jewish. And embassy, that means friends. And Christians, we all know what Christians meant for thousands of years. Well, how could this be? So I went in and I started picking up some brochures, and the receptionist said, "Can I help you?" And I said, no, just looking. But I read the brochures and I said, these Christians are truly sincere in their love for the Jewish people and for the state of Israel. So that really turned me on. This was, I think, in the mid-'80s. And since then, I've more and more searched out for Christian friends who love me. And I learned in kindergarten that if somebody extends their hand in friendship, you embrace their hand, that hand, and shake it and establish that friendship with them.
Amen.
So today, my best friends are Christians all over the world. And I would reach out to them. The ICEJ that I mentioned, Bridges for Peace, Christian Friends of Israel, other organizations in Jerusalem. And then with the internet, I got more friends, Facebook. One day I was talking to a Christian group in Jerusalem, and I said, listen, I talk to Christian groups that come to Israel maybe 2-3 times a year. That's not enough. I want to do it more. So I came up with an idea to teach Christians on the internet. Basically, I wanted to establish an online yeshiva for Christians. And all of the people in the group gasped and said, hallelujah. And one man walked up to me and said, I want to be your first student.
Wow.
And that man was Bob Odell, and he became my partner. And together we established Root Source, root like a tree, source like water, which is an online platform for pro-Israel Christians and Jews to study together the concepts, ideas, and texts that we have in common. And since then, we've established the website, root-source.com. We have about 20 Jewish teachers from Israel who are teaching in English topics such as women in the Bible, Jewish history, the land of Israel, beginner's Hebrew, the book of Proverbs, all sorts of topics like that. We've had over 50,000 pro-Israel Christians subscribing to our newsletter, and over 1,000 recorded lessons online. So that is the main program of Root Source. We've been around for about 12 years now, and and we've done other things as well. We've published about 18 books, and we also do some web-based symposiums with Christian academic leaders and Jewish academic leaders about, again, the things that we have in common, like the feasts and the Sabbath, things like this. Recently, I met a Holocaust survivor, and I went to his home to meet with him, 95 years old. And I started asking him some questions about his life, and he would answer me. But he said, listen, I could tell you all the answers, or I could just give you my story that I wrote 10 years ago. So he went to a drawer in his living room, and this is what he pulled out. I said, this is very nice. First of all, it's not a book. It's just a photocopy. Second of all, you don't have too many copies of it. It's just for whoever happens to come to your living room.
Right.
And third of all, it's in Hebrew. So not too many people are going to know it. So I said, let me translate and publish your story in English.
Oh.
And he said, okay. And it took me a little while, but about a few months. And finally, I've published this book, Through Faith and Fire, the story, the life of Rabbi Eliyahu Dermer. That is his book. That is his story. And it's in English, as I said, with some pictures I added from him. And I said, we have a phrase in Hebrew, Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor. You do not have to finish the work, but you cannot just free yourself from doing anything. You got to do something. So I said I did one book, but that's not enough. I decided that I was going to publish 100 stories of Holocaust survivors that have never been published before in English.
Wow.
So I established within Root Source, my American nonprofit organization, a sub-organization called We Must Not Forget.
Okay.
Now, I will tell you that Israel has people, as you know, from all different places in the world. So I'm guessing that there are probably more languages being spoken in England, in Israel than maybe all the places of the world.
Mm.
I happen to also have a friend of mine. She was born in Italy, I'm pretty sure, so she knows Italian. So I'm publishing these books in English. My goal is to find individuals or schools or churches that will adopt each Holocaust survivor.
Ah.
The cost to produce each book is $7,000 to the translation and the editing. Things cost money. But each adopter can find, if they get 70 people, each one gives $100, then they've finished that project. And even if 20 people each commit to giving $10 a month over 3 years, then they've also are able to adopt this. They can spread.
Do you, Gidon, do you have this information on your website?
I have it on its own website, wemustnotforget.org.
Okay, and then you can send me that and I can share it with everyone.
Absolutely, okay. I will. And I will tell you now that I would love for your organization or some of your organizations to sponsor books. I think that for another, I can't tell for sure, but I think for another $3,000, we can publish the stories also in Italian.
Okay, so it would be 10,000. Let me just make sure they're understanding. Avete capito quello che sta dicendo lui praticamente dopo che ha incontrato questo rabbino e ha fatto questo primo libro di Through Faith and Fire, lui ha fatto una promessa di scrivere 100 storie di sopravvissuti dell'Olocausto, storie sconosciute. E quindi ha questo sito che si chiama We Must Not Forget dove si può anche adottare, diciamo, uno di questi personaggi economicamente dando delle offerte perché costa 7.000 euro al libro a pubblicare e dice forse altre 3.000 si potrebbe anche farlo in italiano, però insomma c'è questo progetto di adottare uno di questi sopravvissuti da poter aiutare con il finanziamento per questi 100 storie di sopravvissuti. Ok.
Well, that's it. So Baruch Hashem, thank God we've already got about 20 stories that we are waiting for people to adopt. And we're already starting to work on our next story. This is a story of a small celebrity here in Israel. He's 96 years old. I met him in Tel Aviv. And he was a Holocaust survivor. He moved to Israel and he became a famous actor in the theater, and he established the National Yiddish Theater of Israel.
Wow. What's his
So
name?
I'm going to write his story also. Very
What's his
interesting.
name?
And all of these stories, if we don't get them out in English, then it's if they don't exist. These Holocaust survivors, sad to say, it's as if they died twice. They die when they will die. Some of them are already dead, and their story dies with them. So it's very important, I think, a big mitzvah.
Okay, cool. I wanted to ask you a question on, so you live in Samaria,
I live in Judea.
Judea. Okay. And so for instance, I saw you put on the group chat that you have information about the terrorist attack that happened the other day, which unfortunately a gentleman lost his life.
Yes.
So let me ask if the others, if they would like to hear some information about that we can then. Io ho detto, allora lui abita in Giudea e quindi lui sulla chat ieri ha scritto, stamattina ha scritto che è disponibile a dare l'informazione riguardo l'attacco terroristico che c'è stato un paio di giorni fa e dove è morto un signore anziano. Volete volete sentire qualcosa da parte sua su questo attacco? Così possiamo. Okay, yes. So they would like to hear the truth of really what happened. I'm just gonna go close the door. I'll be right back.
Okay. The they say there's an English phrase. Will you say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Right, right. Sì, in inglese diciamo la verità, tutta la verità e nulla tranne la verità. Nel senso, quando Gesù dice verità, in verità vi dico, no, lo dice sempre 3 volte. Yes.
So that's very hard to do in a few minutes on a Zoom, because the story is extremely complex, what's going on here in Israel. And often you will see even a video, and it looks very quick, very easy to say, this is the bad guys against the good guys. I will actually tell, there is a website that you might be familiar with. I would not be surprised if it is translated into Italian. It is called Honest Reporting. HonestReporting, I think, .com. It was started because there were riots on the Temple Mount, and the New York Times reported about this riot on the Temple Mount, and they included a picture of an Israeli policeman with his baton, with his stick in his hand, over a person who was bleeding. And they showed this picture. You see, the Israeli police were beating Palestinians.
Mm-hmm.
except that the picture was not on the Temple Mount. There was a gas station behind the policeman, so obviously there's no gas station on the Temple Mount. And the person who was bleeding was a yeshiva boy, a Jewish yeshiva boy, and the policeman was waving his stick to move away the Palestinians that had beat this Israeli Jew. So you see that the picture is worth 1,000 words, but sometimes it's 1,000 words of lies.
Yeah, for sure.
So you have to be very careful about that kind of thing. Anyway, so what happened, again, I don't know how much I can say. The Jewish people have come back to the land of Israel. There were always Jews in the land of Israel, and the land of Israel was very sparsely populated. There were maybe 80,000 people living in this whole area. Today, there's about 13 million.
In Judea.
Pardon me?
In Judea.
No,
in
Israel.
Right.
In modern day state of Israel, including the Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, and the Gaza Strip, and the Golan Heights. The Golan Heights you might have heard of. That is an area that overlooks Israel. And before 1967, it was held by the Syrians, and they would shoot and send rockets towards Israel. Totally unacceptable.
Right.
So we ultimately conquered the Golan Heights together with the Judea and Samaria in 1967. And there were maybe, 50,000 people living in that whole area. Not a lot of people. Anyway, and so also in Judea and Samaria, there weren't too many people living. And somehow all of these areas grew and grew and grew. Tremendous population explosion, both from the Jewish side and from the Muslim side, the Arab side. So here we are in the West Bank, in Judea and Samaria, where many Jews believe that from a historical and from a biblical perspective, this is our land. It is our heartland.
We believe that, yeah.
Certainly, from a military security perspective, these lands are very, very important. Now, if not you, but if somebody believes that there should be no Jews in the land of Israel at all, then of course, they don't need that security part. They should all just go back to wherever they came from. But only the worst of anti-Semites and anti-Zionists say things like that, because the whole reason, not the whole reason, but a main reason that the state of Israel was established in 1948 was because there was no place for the Jews to be besides here. You might have heard of the Wannsee Conference. There was a place called Wannsee or Wannsee, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, in Germany, and the Germans got together and said, the German leaders got together, the Nazi leaders got together and said, here are all the Jews in all of the different countries of Europe. And then there was another conference, this is what I really wanted to say, called, I think it was called the Evian Conference. When the Nazis started persecuting the Jews, all of the people of the world said, we got to do something about it. So the United States brought together a conference with about 40 countries that said, what are we going to do about the Jews that they're being persecuted? They weren't yet being executed in Europe by the Nazis. They got together for this conference. Not a single country said, we will take Jews. They all said somebody else has to do something about it. Now that I've given the shock value, I have to be more truthful. The country of the Dominican Republic said, we will take 100,000 Jews. It was a tiny country. Didn't have any money
Wow.
anyway.
Wow.
There were 11 million Jews, and they said, we'll take 100,000. And even then, I don't think they even ended up taking.
Hmm.
So to say that let the Jews go back to where they came from, never again. That is what that is the two-word slogan of the Holocaust. That Jews must live in Israel. So most certainly, thank God, in 1948, in 1947, the United Nations voted, I think it was 33 to 11 or something like that. There weren't a lot of nations in the United Nations at the time. They voted to establish a Jewish state in the land of Israel. Thank God. And so certainly then, most of the UN agreed that there should be a Jewish state in the land of Israel.
Right.
Since then, I don't think that we could pass even 1 to 99
Right.
that they
Right.
would want to have a Jewish state, which only goes to show how bad anti-Semitism is. Because if they would say, no, let there be a dual nation state. Well, thank you very much. If there's a dual nation state, that means that all of these terrorists, they would then become the minister of, I don't know what, the minister of security, the minister of defense. We would never agree to such a thing. And in fact, we would never agree to a Palestinian state. Because if there's a Palestinian state, they will have international permission to amass ammunition and create an army that would fight against us. We don't want to fight. We're very happy to allow people to live in peace, but to work together with a plan to create a state that its main and sole idea is to destroy the Jewish state. No, we're not going to do that. No, there's not anybody in Israel today that says we have to create a Palestinian state. Not today. Some people say in the past they thought so, and some might say maybe in the future, but today nobody's going to say that. Not after the Palestinians did October 7th and killed more Jews in one day than since the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
what
going
happened?
Going back to what happened.
Yeah, I just needed to give that
Absolutely.
background.
It's important to give that background.
So so unfortunately, in Judea and Samaria, in the West Bank, there are, I think, about 2 million Palestinians. It's questionable how many there are exactly. And about 500,000 Jews living in communities like where I live. There are and in principle, we'd like to live in peace, but in practice, it's very difficult. This specific intersection that the attack happened, tragically, there have been many, many, many attacks, even in the past few years. You might have heard of 3 young boys that were kidnapped at that intersection about 10 years ago. And the whole country was praying for them for 10 days until they finally found that they had been killed that same day. Very tragic. And another 2, I remember 2 other people were killed, and recently another. It's a very
at that same intersection.
That same intersection, yes. So there are a lot of army soldiers guarding that intersection, and there's cameras there. But what happened yesterday? 2 young men, 18-year-olds, came from Hebron, where I live, and took knives and a car. Now, that road is Road 60. you have both Israelis and Palestinians driving on that road. Thankfully, most of the time, nothing happens. But unfortunately, sometimes terrorists ram their car into Jews, Israelis, who happen to be standing at a bus stop.
Ah.
So this happened for the first time many, many years ago. And Israel decided to put cement, somewhat aesthetic, but cement pillars in front of bus stations all over Judea and Samaria.
Wow.
So, you know, unfortunately, not everybody is careful to stand on the inside of these bus pillars. And so this terrorist rammed his car into the people who were standing by that bus stop. And then they got out of the car with knives in order to stab their victims. And this, of course, all happened within seconds.
Right.
So I know that bus stop. I travel there frequently. There are four soldiers standing on both sides, two soldiers standing on each side of the bus stop. As soon as they saw this happening, they immediately shot the terrorists and they were eliminated. But unfortunately, they managed to kill one gentleman who he himself lived in Kiryat Arba, Hebron, where I live.
Oh, wow. Sorry
Now,
to hear.
I'm sure that the fake news reporters all over the world are going to say, you see, the Israeli army killed a minor, maybe. I don't know. I heard that he was 18. I didn't check his
No,
birthday.
I heard on one of the Italian, I don't remember what station, but it said that because of the oppression by the colonists all these years, blah, 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 you know, they always justify every act of terrorism. Everything's justified. So that's what I heard yesterday.
Tremendously horrific.
Yeah.
You know, the victim, the murdered victim was 71 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really, if I would hear something like that and understand it on the radio, I would try to make a meeting with the news editor and the newscaster and say, do you really think that there's any justification in murdering a 70-year-old man?
Yeah.
Now, I maybe somebody who attacks a soldier, then you can say there's a war.
Mm-hmm.
But these people invariably attack civilians.
Yeah.
So you're saying, well, it's justified because the settlements are terror. Now, I live in a settlement. We try to be friends I try to be friends with Palestinians living around me. Some of my neighbors call me crazy because they say they're all terrorists.
Mm.
And it's, especially after October 7th, it's very hard for me to justify my reaching out to try to make friends with people who seem to support what happened in October 7th.
Yeah.
There's a pro-peace Arab activist on Twitter, on X. He said, come on, everybody. He quoted another tweet, and he said, look, this tweet said that there is no Palestinians who are pro-peace. Come on, pro-Palestinians, please comment below. So 12 people commented. And you look into the comments, it all says, you're not going to find a single one.
Yeah.
And in fact, not a single Palestinian tweeter said, yes, I'm for peace.
Right. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
this is
Well,
what
this
we
is
live
what
in.
you have. Well, I think it's just our time is just about up, and I know everyone needs to get back. You too. I imagine you have important things to get to. So what I think we wanted to do was to establish a contact with you and to be able to periodically, even individually, not necessarily collectively. Of course, I'm always available to help with the language. But if we can contact you periodically to get all the truth, all the truth, and nothing but the truth coming from Judea.
Mostly, so help me God.
Amen. Amen.
Gidon, I have a question for you.
Bevakasha.
Sì, devo parlare in italiano, non c'è niente da fare. Abbiamo avuto di recente una proiezione di un film in Italia sulla rete nazionale Rai. Questo è successo sabato scorso, del film No Other Land.
So last week on the Rai television, there are 3 channels. It's the biggest. That used to be the state Italian television. Now they're private. But anyway, they broadcast the film No Other Land.
Tu conosci questo film, Gidon?
Are you familiar with this film?
I think so. I don't remember. I probably didn't see it all. I probably watched it at twice the speed and jumped from place to place. But I think that I've seen it. It's an anti-Israel film, if I remember correctly.
È contro Israele, sì, parla dei...
Sì, praticamente è stato fatto da un regista israeliano che è un attivista pro-palestinese ed è stato girato nel villaggio di Mashafer Yatta.
Mashaver Yatta is a village where they filmed it, and it was produced and directed by an Israeli who is pro-Palestinian.
Yeah.
Ovviamente il racconto è unilaterale, cioè gli israeliani distruggono senza motivo le case dei palestinesi e i coloni israeliani vanno ad attaccare, protetti dai soldati israeliani, questi villaggi. La storia in sintesi.
So it's a unilateral view showing that Israelis attack unjustifiably the villages, the Palestinian villages, and that the colonies or whatever they just go and they attack and pull people out of their homes, just, you know.
Io ho visto poi sui social da sabato a oggi un'accesa discussione su questo e un potenziamento delle posizioni pro-Palestina proprio in seguito alla proiezione sulla rete nazionale di questo film.
So he's noticed on the different social media platforms, an increase in people speaking about this and potentially an increase of anti-Semitism because they broadcast this film on the Italian television network, one of the biggest.
Allora, io volevo farti una proposta, giusto per iniziare subito con una proposta di collaborazione concreta. Io vorrei fare una...
Okay, hold on, Mimmo, because my connection is not very good. So Mimmo is saying that he wants to immediately speak about like first step in collaborating.
Nel giro di un paio di settimane vorrei fare una trasmissione su questo film, invitando qualcuno che conosce bene la situazione di Masher Yatta, questo villaggio in Samaria, non so se è proprio in Giudea o in Samaria, ma è quella zona. Quindi chiedo...
So within a couple of weeks, he would like to do a program regarding this film, inviting someone who knows, like an expert, someone who knows the situation very well, and in particular this village. He doesn't remember if it's in Judea or Samaria.
Volevo chiederti, Gidon, di guardare questo film, sicuramente ci sarà anche in ebraico, in arabo, non so, e di parlarne insieme con te per dare le motivazioni di quello che succede, motivazioni storiche. Quel territorio è stato conquistato nel 67 da Israele, come sappiamo, questa è la cosa più importante da ribadire, ma soprattutto quali sono le motivazioni per cui oggi il governo israeliano fa quelle demolizioni.
So he is asking you to watch the film. I imagine it will be very painful. Immagino che sarà doloroso per lui a guardarlo. So that you know what is being said, so that so that he and you and the others can counteract, contrast it. Not only historically, we all know our biggest, let's say the place we're starting from is the fact, as you said earlier, that in 1967 Israel conquered that again, the Samaria and Judea and Samaria. But if you have even information on that particular village and why it's important that the Israeli military forces actually go in and demolish these homes.
Of course. First of all, that village is called Masafer Yatta.
Repeat,
Masafer
Yatta.
Yatta.
Masafer Yatta.
Okay.
Let me just 1 second. Masafer
Samaria or
Yatta.
in Judea, Gidon?
That is in Judea. It's
Judea.
It's about 15 minutes away from my home.
Ah.
Okay.
Now,
Tu puoi andare lì? You can go in the village. Is a village.
You're asking me if I can go into the village?
Sì, se tu puoi andare.
He wants to know if you, as a Jew, as an Israeli, can go to that village.
O è un territorio dove gli ebrei non
Or
possono...
is it a territory that it's too hostile for you to go to, or you're not allowed?
Okay, so when I moved to where I live now, I moved from a place called Ma'ale Adumim, which is northeast of Jerusalem. And now I live about a half hour east of Jerusalem. And now I live about 45 minutes south of Jerusalem. So I moved away. Soon after I moved here, the army started putting up big red signs. I'll maybe share one with you. The picture is on the internet, and they put that in all sorts of places. You are entering Area A, and it is very dangerous, and Israelis are not allowed here. There's danger of death.
Mm. Okay.
So I was at first very upset that they put those signs up, because when my friends would come and visit me, they would see that word, danger of death. What am I doing here? Nobody wants to go to a place where there's a danger of death.
Right.
But the fact is that those signs are up, and in principle, you're not supposed to pass those. So I'm pretty sure that if not this Masafer Yatta, then other places have these signs in front of them.
Okay.
There are some places in Judea where I travel that you're going by the homes of Palestinians. They come up right onto the road.
Mm.
Masafer Yatta, I'm not so sure about that. But I say that it's about a 15-minute drive from my house. It's next to a community called Susia. I live in Ma'ale Hever. Susia, like I said, about 15, 20 minutes away. There are people there that know a lot more about Masafer Yatta than I do. And it's not something that I focus on so much.
Okay.
I could try to do my homework and make a presentation, but I could definitely get you a spokesperson that already has watched the movie.
Okay.
And could do a much better job of
Mimmo, non so se hai capito, lui dice che potrebbe anche vedere il film, studiare tutto quanto, ma non è non è quello che lui vuole focalizzare il suo tempo in questo momento, però potrebbe trovare per te delle persone che abitano in Susa, in quell'altro villaggio, che sono molto, molto, come si dice, hanno studiato tutto, sono esperti di
Sono
tutta la
preparati.
situazione. Preparati, sì.
Parliamo di ebrei sempre.
Sì, Jews, right? The contact that you could give us
Of
would be a
course,
Jew
of
and
course, of
Israeli.
course.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yes,
Okay.
please, Gidon, we will speak over that because now is very, very important argument.
I
Okay.
am
the
thinking of
social.
I'm thinking of at least one very busy spokesperson who I'm sure could do an excellent job of talking about this. I may be wrong,
Okay.
but I'm sure they'll find somebody, and hopefully somebody that is an English speaker.
Ah, right. Otherwise, we'll need two translators.
Yeah.
Dici,
And
spero di trovare uno che parla l'inglese, altrimenti uno deve tradurre da ebraico oppure da ebraico a italiano. Or we could do a translation if we found someone that knows Hebrew and Italian. That could also
Io
be.
ho un traduttore da ebraico in italiano
Ah,
disponibile.
he has a
Yes, I
translator.
have.
So if the contact is,
He's
doesn't speak
a
English.
professor in Rabbi. They live in Jerusalem. We are very, very friends.
who's that?
I
Who
have
did you
a
say?
friend in Jerusalem. This is a professor of story. Guida, come si dice guida anche, è un
He's
rabbino.
has a professor of history and he's a
Yes.
guide. What's
What's
his
his name?
name? Come si chiama?
We say Davide Nizza. Davide Nizza.
Davide Nizza.
He's Italian. He's Italian.
Of
Jewish.
course.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find him. Maybe he's a guide in Jerusalem. He lives in Jerusalem.
Yes.
Did you say that he's a professor? Here I found him. David Nizza, guida turistica in Israele.
Primo. Lui.
Scuola della Comunità Ebraico di Milano.
Yes.
That's the right guy, right?
You found him.
Okay.
Thank you, Google.
You know? You know?
I don't know him, but I'm going to reach out to him now.
Okay.
No, l'ha trovato su Google. L'ha
Lui
trovato
parla
su.
molto bene, ovviamente benissimo, è la sua seconda lingua l'ebraico ed è molto preparato anche su questi temi. Però preferirei che di questa questione dei territori occupati in Samaria e Giudea ne parlasse qualcuno che è lì.
So he said that the reason he doesn't want to have this person speak, this professor, he can be used as a translator, but he wants someone from the area that really knows what's going on to actually be the one giving all the information.
Okay, I will. It's not impossible that I will find a person who's an excellent spokesman and lives around here and knows Italian and speaks in Italian. It's possible.
Oh, that would be even better.
We'll try our best.
All right. All right. I need to actually leave.
Okay.
Are we
me
good?
too.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you had
Okay.
a chance to ask the question, and may I make a request
Yes.
that we open up this video that we did to the WhatsApp group,
Ah, okay.
because I
Yeah.
think it's very important stuff too. All right.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry I had a bad connection. Some of the times I wasn't, but
I
I
didn't
hope.
notice it. Usually when somebody has a bad connection, then we can tell. But this time we couldn't tell.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Bye-bye.
Shalom, shalom, shalom.